With the NBA trade deadline approaching, should the Spurs go in on Knicks Yabusele? Perhaps there's other players out there that should be on the Spurs' radar.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. As always, I'm glad you are here on Locked On Spurs, your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs. Subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. Become an everydayer. And thank you for making the Locked On Sports Podcast Network number one in this nation. What are we talking about today with the trade deadline approaching? Starting to hear little pops here, little murmuring regarding the Spurs and what they should do. And the big one right now is Knicks Yabusele. There's kind of conflicting reports right now if the Spurs are so interested in that. We're going to be discussing that. Should the Spurs go after him or not, and why? And then who else should be on the Spurs trade target radar as the trade deadline, like I mentioned, is fast approaching. So, and if time permitting, we'll get into some Locked On Spurs fan comments. Let's go ahead and bring in our guest, everybody. He is back to our studio's very own Mr. Rudy Campos. Follow him on X at Box Sports Studio. Always making my studio bad with that.
All the credit goes to our producers, man. That's all the credit goes to them. I do nothing.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for sure, I'm not trading Rudy Campos to another Spurs podcast. That's for sure.
There's nobody I would want to go to. I signed a life.
There you go. Yeah, he signed a no trade clause in there. Yeah, it'll hurt me more in my pockets. All right, Rudy, let's go and dive into it here. And the trade deadline is kind of around the corner, and you're already starting to see little murmurs here, some scuttlebutt regarding the Spurs. And the one that seems to be more persistent is Knicks Yabusele. Let's get that out of the way. So there's conflicting reports right now. So the first one is via Clutch Points. Now, Clutch Points is reporting that the Spurs are actually not interested as much anymore in Yabusele, that he's kind of falling off their radar, and Sohan will be involved because it solves what the Knicks need right now, a little bit more length, some more defense. But then on the other side, too, we have a report via Ian Bagley, Knicks reporter, who says, yeah, but you should still keep the radar on the Spurs and Yabusele. So we kind of have a little bit of a conflicting report. Let's start off or at least dig into why his name is popping up. And obviously the big one is, well, he's French and he's Wemby's bro and, all that good stuff. He's his countryman. All right, that aside, I think why Yabusele keeps on popping up a lot is because of the fact that the Spurs need help in the big man department. They need a mobile big, guy with a high motor, kind of like a Malik Rose build next to Wemby, or at least backing up Wemby. Can you see why Yabusele's on the Spurs' radar right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, you're talking basically like the Malik Rose type of player from back in the day.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to get what he got, the 76ers were getting out of him that one season he was there, where he averaged 11 points and I think it was about 5 or 6 rebounds a game. So if they can get that kind of production out of Yabusele, I mean, again, he brings that Malik Rose type of a hard work and ethic that Malik had, but also you'd be getting a lot more than what you're kind of getting out of Jeremy right now. So it's almost flip-flopping for the same type of player, with the exception that Yabusele's got 2 years under his belt, doesn't really have to get an extension at the end. He's only making $5.5 million I think a year right now, so you don't have to really worry about Jeremy's extension at the end of the season. So I think it's a pretty decent deal right there. The only problem is with Yabusele coming in, there possibly may have to be a third team because I don't think the Knicks would want to give up any other player other than Yabusele. So numbers-wise, when it comes to contract, it's just not going to be able to match up very well.
Yeah, this season with New York, he isn't lighting up the stat sheet. He's only averaging about 2.8 points per game, 2.1 rebounds, and only playing 9.2 minutes. So there's your issue right there. He's not getting a lot of playing time. But as you highlighted, he did have that one really solid season with the Sixers. And you dig deeper, he's, I guess, look at it. So has no offense to Jeremy, but the bar is low when it comes to 3-point shooting. And Yabusele is connecting on this season 39% of his field goal shots. So he does spread the floor a little bit, unlike Sohan, who tends to struggle from the floor. Now, 3-point shooting wise is kind of about the same ish, about 31% from Yabusele. But I get why he's on the Spurs' radar. I understand that. The Spurs lack more bigs. They do. No knock on Cornet. Obviously no knock on Wemby. But Olynyk's not really getting a lot of burn this season. And that's about it. It kind of stops there. I guess you could throw his Sohan in there. He tends to play kind of the big position sometimes. But again, he's very undersized and doesn't do much. So Yabusele would fit the bill. The Spurs have enough assets. We all know about that to make a deal happen. And there you have it. But ultimately, Rudy, I'm on the camp of don't do it. Don't do it. As much as that's Wemby's pal, Frenchman, all that good stuff, I don't think you're really getting back in return a lot. I think you're pretty much just getting Sohan all over again, just in a bigger body. I think that's all you're getting back. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, when you put it side by side, all you're getting is 1.5 million in cap space a year. I mean, that's really it. I think the production for that 1 year in Philadelphia put the league on notice with Yabusele. And I think, like I said, he went from getting like 27, 28 minutes a game in Philadelphia to 9 with the Knicks. So they're not really using him. He's being underutilized there in New York. So maybe with San Antonio, he'll get those additional, maybe 10, 15 minutes, maybe get him up to around that 15, 16 minutes a game mark with San Antonio. You also got to remember, too, that it'll help also with the development of Carter Bryant as well. I mean, he's going to get some run. And maybe, the fact that they've got a commodity like Jeremy Sochan, who deserves to probably get some playing time with another team, especially like the Knicks. It's almost like an equal trade is what it comes out to, with the exception of, the Spurs would get, 1.5 million a year in cap space. But outside of that, pretty much the same player. You have Yabusele, who gave you a good year in Philadelphia. So again, I'm kind of with you. I don't necessarily want to do the trade just to do the trade. I don't know the reasoning behind it, other than they probably like Yabusele a little bit better than Jeremy, if those are the two guys that they're being talked about. Other than that, I mean, there's really not much of a difference.
Yeah, I don't really see a difference. I mean, if you're choosing between Sohan and Yabusele in this situation, I might as well just keep Sohan. Seriously, just keep him. At least he has some team chemistry with the guys. He knows his role, et cetera, et cetera. Yabusele would need time to adjust, get used to his new teammate. Obviously, playing with Wemby would be a great thing, at least optically. Hey, two French guys teaming up. Spurs popularity in France would shoot more through the roof than it is right now. But no, I think the Spurs should stand pat. I don't think they should chase Yabusele. Again, I don't think you're really getting that much in return. I don't see it. I don't see how much he helps improve shooting that Sohan doesn't really show right now. It's about the same. Yeah. Again, we'll look at Yabusele right now. Through, let's see, how many games has he played? About 38 games played for New York. He's shooting 39%. All right. So what's Sohan shooting right now? Let's just do a little comparison right now. Sohan, again, in limited minutes this season, again, he hasn't really got a lot of burn, but he's shooting, let's see, we got it here. Let's see, 48% shooting, but keep in mind, he's only played 27 games and in very limited minutes. He's only averaging about, let me get it here for you guys, 13 minutes per game. So keep that in mind. And he's attempting only 3.6 shots. So maybe the numbers are a little bit skewed here. I still also see with Yabusele just an undersized big, another undersized big. What do you think?
Yeah, it's an undersized big. But I don't know if it's preference. Again, we could just say that the Spurs are going for preference. This is not the first time we'd seen them going after one of their star players, teammates from an overseas, being an Olympic or overseas teammate. Manu Ginobili, you saw, who was it, Alberto come over to San Antonio. Yeah. So we've seen it happen in the past, but it might just be preference. I mean, they may see a high motor like they did in Malik Rose from back in the day with Yabusele, and that's kind of a player that they feel they may come in, give them those extra minutes that they are needing, that extra hard work, that extra, maybe even leadership as well. But again, he started, I believe it was like 43 games for Philadelphia that season,
Mhm.
being that it was his best season. A lot of teams are playing off of that year, and it's not fair to him to, be in the position he's in right now with the Knicks. I figure when he got signed by the Knicks, he probably thought the same way I'm thinking. He's going to get some really good run in New York, but it just doesn't seem to working out that way. For all
Mhm.
we know, maybe the Knicks just kind of have that regret and looking to move him. And San Antonio, knowing they have Jeremy Sochan, that might not be a good fit for them either. So it's kind of like I said, more like a player for player type deal. The
Mhm.
numbers are very close, whether it be stats, whether it be contract, but I mean, ideally, it's the same player, maybe just a little bit undersized.
Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert, start to finish, without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2 self-employed forms, so you can just get to work on those deductions. You can upload your documents, go about your day, get updates right in the TurboTax app. It's a huge time saver, gives real peace of mind knowing an expert is handling it. For a limited time offer, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in. If a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year, just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club. Access to ad-free audio feed for Locked On Spurs, compatible with Apple's Podcasts, Spotify, and every other major podcast app. An invite to the members-only Locked On Everydayer Club Discord server, which includes a group chat for just listeners of this show and, well, hanging out with a lot of other fans on Discord. You want to go to this website right now, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer club. Go there right now, or just tap the link in the show notes to learn more.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I don't see him, Yabusele, that is, as a significant upgrade. It's not. He doesn't spread the floor. He's undersized. Now, does he have a motor? Sure, but so does Sohan. Is he tough and rough and tumble? Yes, but so is Sohan. Again, you're just seeing more of the same. And again, I think like you mentioned, this is just if they do it, it's just a trade for the trade. You're not getting anything as far as an upgrade. The team needs reliable front court depth. Yabusele statistically isn't. Defend at a high level. I don't think he can defend at a high level. We definitely need a big that can hit the threes, or just anybody at this point that can hit the three. More on that later. Now, does he bring some physicality? Sure. And that's one of the things that the Spurs have lacked over the last few games. Look at the last game versus the Pelicans. I mean, the Pelicans just manhandled them, literally, even to the point where Devin Vassell said, look, we don't want to try to be dirty, but we got to make people feel that we're out there too. So even they're recognizing that sometimes the physicality lacks. But if you're going to do that, then might as well throw Sohan because he can be physical. Oh, man. Yeah, I know there's a segment of Spurs fans that really want to see this go down because it's a French thing, but you got to look past that. And does this move bolster the Spurs this season in their playoff run? Probably not, Rudy. Your thoughts?
I'm gonna agree with you that it probably doesn't, but without us being in the front office and the coaching staff, we're kind of just going by the eye test here. I mean, both guys are 6'8". I think Jeremy's 230 and Yabusele's 260, 265. So again, you get a bigger body, but essentially you're getting, just really about the same player. And come playoff time, could Yabusele with I can't remember if the Sixers made it to the playoffs that year or not, but saying that they did, you get a little bit more experience with him. But other than that, I mean, maybe the physicality, which you can't say Jeremy's not physical. He is a physical player. Maybe the fact that Yabusele plays more under the basket than maybe Jeremy has, because Jeremy goes for a little bit. It could be so many things. It could be so many different looks that they may want to give Yabusele in San Antonio. But again, essentially it's the same player, one player for one player. It's the same type of player, same instinct, same everything. So I think at the end of the day, it's just probably for preference.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then what kind of players should the Spurs be looking at on their trade radar if they're going to make a deal? Now, I think the obvious right now is they definitely need perimeter shooting. No knock on Julian Champagny. He's been doing the best he can. Vassell just got back recently, and he showed that he can force space, hitting the mid-range, all that good stuff. But they still need more. They're struggling. They're struggling this year. Rudy, is there a name out there that maybe you think the Spurs should target?
Absolutely. There's one guy that for very quietly and very under the radar was kind of mentioned in whispers, and that would be Kevin Huerter out of Chicago. And I mean, the reason being, he's shooting like 39% from 3-point range, if I'm not mistaken, right around that right there. But with Huerter, you get a consistent shooter, a guy that can knock down the consistent 3-point shot.
Good point.
He's done it in Chicago. He's done it in Sacramento. I mean, the kid can flat out play. I think he is only like 26 years old, 27 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So, but the biggest thing is that you got him for at least a season. He's only on his last year. He's $17.9 million. So in a trade like that, you would probably have to move Sohan and maybe Kelly Olynyk to get Kevin Huerter. So that's a guy that I've got circled. Right now, the Bulls kind of are up in the air. They're good enough to be play in, maybe play off if they go on a really good run. And Kevin Huerter is a pretty big part of that. But again, if you kind of give the Bulls, maybe a draft pick in return or something like that to make it work, I don't see them having an issue letting go of Kevin Huerter, especially since it's on his last year. And they're probably going to put a lot more money into like Josh Giddey and also Kobe White. They've got some players that they can put some money towards as well. And then, of course, you got the draft coming up. So Kevin Huerter's a name that I would kind of maybe secretly say to keep an eye on, whether it be the Spurs or anybody else. But that's who I like coming into the trade deadline as a guy that we may see being floating around.
Yeah, I see what you're going at. If I have to play devil's advocate here, I'll play devil's advocate. But defensively, he's a massive liability. He's not a good defender at all. Does he space the floor? Of course he does. But when I think, that's the thing. I know he can space the floor, but is he an elite 3-point shooter, deep shooter though? Rudy, you think that could be a knock? You have a guy who can't really defend that well. The Spurs have made defense priority number one. The stats show it. They talked about it since media day. He doesn't bring that. And I don't know if he's an elite floor spacer. What do you think?
Definitely not elite floor spacer. I mean, but he can get hot, and he has shown that he can get hot from beyond the arc. But you look at the side of things here. The other side of things is, you saw the cool, the coming down party of Harrison Barnes. So you ask yourself, can he shoot at a little bit better rate, a little bit of percentage than Harrison? I mean, I think so. I think he can actually get into a better rhythm right now. We don't really know what's kind of going on with Harrison. He's been struggling lately. And again, it's not like you're going to move Harrison Barnes for Kevin Huerter anyway, but it does add another guy that can shoot the 3 ball. And if you look at it, it's really the chance you're going to take. If you're going to be able to give up Jeremy and Kelly Olynyk for Kevin Huerter, that to me, you're giving up 2 guys that really aren't getting any run for a guy that could potentially give you, 2 or 3 3-point makes a game. That to me is a better trade-off. And another guy you may want to kind of look at, Miami might be willing to rebuild as well a little bit. So keep an eye on maybe a Harrison Barnes for Andrew Wiggins type of deal, because Barnes will be coming off of the book. So knowing Miami may want to go after a guy like John Moran or somebody like that, they may want to get some expiring contracts. I think that could be another move that the Spurs and the Heat might be willing to make. Something like a Barnes for a Wiggins type deal. Again, another guy that can come in and score, that can shoot the ball. Adds a little bit better defense with Andrew Wiggins and Kevin Huerter does, but those are 2 guys to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, I know. Going back to Huerter here, do you think the Bulls would want some sort of, not a haul back, but a little bit more than pennies on the dollar? I think they would.
Maybe so, but they're not going to ask. They're not going to ask for. They're not going to ask for your best players, and they're not even going to ask for Keldon or Devin. Right now, the Bulls have a ton of cap space, and to me, that's the key, is that they have a lot of cap space coming into the offseason. So I don't think they want to get anything in return that's going to mess up that cap space, knowing you've got some free agents coming up and knowing you could potentially have a pretty big trade in the works as well. So, I mean, they've got their biggest guys in like Vucevic is on a 1-year deal. He's making 21. Zach Collins is making 18 on a 1-year deal. So, I mean, right there, you've almost got $40 million coming off the books this season. They don't want to take anything back that's going to, jeopardize the cap space that they have. So I think a Huerter for, again, Sohan and Olynyk deal, that both of those guys are going to come off the books at the end of the season. So that just kind of frees up that much more cap space for them. But at the same time, Huerter's on a 1-year deal as well. So there's really no loss anywhere.
During basketball seasons, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd, the first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing for what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets, fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few steps. See the views from your seat before buying, making choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, and the total is clear from start. Features like zone deals to help unlock great seats and even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time app today. Get in on the action.
In there.
Yeah, a move like going for Huerter, it moves the needle for me a little bit, but it doesn't move it off the map.
I think it adds a win. It adds 1, maybe 2 wins.
Yeah, it adds 1 or 2, it adds a couple wins. Yeah, he'll get hot. We know he can get hot, and good night defenses. But for me, I'm still keeping Trey Murphy III on my Spurs radar. If I'm the GM, I'm Brian Wright. I know there's multiple reports out there saying Pelicans are nearly asking for a haul for him. The Spurs can match that. They can match the haul. I know it may have to cost maybe one of the young players, but maybe you can swing the deal by keeping the young players and just giving them more of those unprotected first-round picks they have. But here's a guy who's averaging 22 points per game right now, 6 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 49% shooting overall. Strong three-point shooter. Now, that's a floor spacer right there. That two-way forward built. I don't think the Spurs have a lot of two-way swing guys, but nobody like Murphy. The closest is probably Devin. That's probably the closest you have right now.
Yeah.
He can play make. He can do all that. He's still young. But, man, the Spurs want a 3-and-D guy, and I know they probably see it in the future with Carter Bryant. But if you want right now a 3-and-D guy, he fits the bill. If I'm Brian Wright, I'm on that phone bugging the Pelicans GM like, what do you want? What do you want today? What do you want? Oh, well, the market's kind of quiet right now. I'm just trying to get an idea of where he's at. I don't want the Spurs to give the Pelicans some sort of mother of all deals. No, I think that's pushing it too much. But it just feels that Murphy III in San Antonio is a natural fit. But, man, I think I just have pie in the sky dreams here because I know the Pelicans are going to want a lot for him. Your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with like Spurs fans got to understand. I know Trey Murphy is the guy that a lot of teams, especially the Spurs want. But I mean, you're talking a guy that's making $25 million a year, 4 years deal. I mean, that's a really good price for Trey Murphy. But you've got to understand that guy is probably 1 or 2 on their building block. So they're not going to give him. And you said you don't want to give up a haul for him. Yeah. If you're willing to give up a player, maybe like Dylan Harper or possibly Stephon Castle, then okay, if Spurs fans are willing to do that, it's going to be that. Plus, you're going to have to give up first-round draft picks. The Pelicans are not going to allow him to go without, getting some major compensation in return. So I talked to a couple of Spurs fans over the weekend. Actually, when I was in Houston, Trey Murphy did come up and they said, oh, they should absolutely go after him. But then I said, are you willing to give up some of your future? And when I'm talking future, one of your younger guys, Stephon Castle, maybe Dylan Harper, plus 2 or 3 first-round draft picks. And they're like, well, yeah, it's worth it now. I said, okay, so let me ask you this. If Wemby doesn't play full seasons from here on out, you're giving up future. Say he doesn't last, a long time in the league, or say, De'Aaron Fox is, here for a little while, then gone or trade or something. So you never know what happens 3 or 4 years from now. So if you're giving up those first-round picks, it's a little bit tougher. But for a guy like Trey Murphy, yes. Is he worth, making a big-time deal for? Yes, he is. But you got to ask yourself, which young player are you willing to give up in return for him?
Did the Trey Young Wizards Hawk set the bar low for stars?
No, Trey Young's thing was this. I get it. It was a basically, penny.
It felt like Atlanta just wanted to get rid of him. That's what it felt like.
That's the key, is that Atlanta just wanted to get rid of Trey Young, and they did, man. To be honest, and plus, like I said, his contract was so horrible compared to his production that they just had to move him no matter what. You could have offered, 7 second-round draft picks and a couple of players, and Atlanta would have been fine. No, we don't care. We're going to do it. Trey Murphy's different. He's actually playing up to his contract. He's playing way better than what his contract is worth. He's actually a hot commodity, plays both sides of the ball, can knock down the 3. He can be a true star in this league. So because of that, you're going to have to pay a pretty price to get him.
Yeah, you definitely are. But that's the thing. The Spurs can meet the sticker price. And they can't draft all those players in that war chest of draft picks they have. They have their upcoming draft pick this summer. They have the Atlanta one. I know it's not going to be strong, but it's still a first-round pick, and it's unprotected. And it's there. And then, of course, the other picks they have expiring deals. I mean, I didn't realize Olynyk's deal is a pretty nice chunk of change coming off the books. I think it's like a little over $14 million. That's huge.
Yeah. It's actually a good trade piece, too. Because
that's a great trade piece, yeah.
A lot of teams have players that are, semi-stars, all-stars that have that $21-25 million a year deal, similar to Trey Murphy. That Olynyk's contract can go in there and eat up a majority of it.
Yeah.
And it's expiring. So again, I mean, if you're let's just look at it for right now. If you're looking at either Dylan Harper or Stephon Castle, you're going to have to look at one of them plus an Olynyk type of move, maybe Jeremy Sochan, to make the numbers work. So again, you're going to give up a good player in return for Trey Murphy. I don't know if they would take a Devin Vassell and somebody, then that would probably work as well. But again, I think because Trey Murphy is their future, it's going to be a lot more in return that they're going to want.
Absolutely. Well, obviously the trade deadline is still weeks away. You're likely going to hear a lot of more rumors popping up with the Spurs name in it. Did you get that? Did you see that funny X post about Giannis? And I forgot which reporter did it. It was hilarious. They were like, just in, the following teams have inquired about Giannis. And it was like every single NBA team. But outside of that, you're likely going to see more rumors pop up. So brace yourself, Spurs fans. It's just getting started. But what do y'all think? Should the Spurs chase Yabusele? Is he worth it? I don't know. Rudy and I are kind of like, nah, pass, moving on. But maybe you think it should happen. You let Rudy know on X at Box Score Studio. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs on. Yeah, let us know who else should be on the Spurs radar. Is it Huerter? Is it Trey Murphy III? Got to go all in? Is it somebody else? Let us know. Rudy, talk to us about Box Score.
Yeah, so Box Score Studio, you just got to go to YouTube, search Box Score Studio TV, hit that subscribe button. You can catch our shows there. I'm also on the Sports Answer, which is on Answer Now TV on YouTube, so be sure to go there as well. Subscribe there. And I hope I don't get a lot more flack from the French people out there because of what I said. I really haven't read the comments, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Well, I can't really apologize because I don't know what the comments say, but nonetheless, I mean, the Yabusele thing, I get the connection, but I mean, it just doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. No. Yeah, go check out Box Score Studio right now. Really damn good job with that show from all sports, and I'm pretty sure he's been busy with Super Bowl here right around the corner and so much more. Rudy, once again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. Everybody else, we thank y'all for Locked On Spurs, your first listen each and every day. Hey, check out the NBA Everydayer Club. You check out Locked On Spurs, right? But now you can get it ad-free. You can join an exclusive members-only Discord channel by signing up at sign up for the NBA Everydayer Club here on the Locked On Sports Podcast. Here's what you got to do. You want to go to lockedonpodcast.com/Everydayer Club. There you can sign up and join the fun ASAP. We'll be back tomorrow as the Spurs season continues, and I think we got Houston next, so maybe we do a little preview on that and so much more. But for Mr. Rudy Campos, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.